Hello. Well, I decided to go ahead and give my feedback, um, being a tarot reader um, in the online community here on YouTube, and also outside, but specifically here on YouTube because I do live readings. Um, the lovely Anna of Astral Lady Tarot posted a discussion. It's not a VR. She did this so that there isn't a VR, but I'm certain there will be, hence me doing one of these. When I said that I wasn't going to do one, I was watching her discussion, and she mentioned a tarot channel. And basically the premise, from what I understood of Anna's discussion, just had to deal with the community, how tarot readers are seen. I'm focusing specifically on the online community, how they're seen, the ethics, the community that we do have, which is just a mishmash of everything from readers to collectors to those who just love to work with the tarot, and then those who are serious and trying to build a practice. It's a wide spectrum, different age groups, different experience levels. All of this takes into consideration when it comes to a community of any sort. But I wanted to come in and just felt, after listening to Anna's discussion, that being a reader, and I am aware of quite a few of the channels that are out there, some that she didn't mention. Again, she mentioned a channel called Tarot for Self-Knowledge, which I had never heard about. And I checked it out. And the person who created that channel, and my apologies, I forgot the name of the individuals, discuss, about the ethics and the moral code of being a tarot reader, and how some tarot readers, they're in it for the money, hustle. Others are serious about their experience and wanting to share what they know, and honestly from the heart want to help people and guide people. I don't want to give a long list of names, but there are some wonderful channels out there. And for those who are looking for insight, the coherence, and they want something really quick, because I've noticed it when I've done some of my lives, that I get some people who want a quick answer. Is this going to happen? Yes or no? And I make it very clear. And in case someone comes in, they missed it, I don't do anything predictive. That's a liability issue of a big kind, taking the responsibility of saying that something is going to happen or is not going to happen, and then risking the chance of someone, that individual coming back and, causing legal issues and stuff. So I don't do predictive. If I get a question that is leaning towards that, and I do this live, if I feel this question does happen, I just change. I ask with the permission of the person if we can reword the question in such a way so that it provides themselves to sort out the issue. I'm not here as a reader. Anyone who is a psychic or does any form of divinatory practices, I feel personally, should not be looked upon for taking the responsibility of someone's actions. That's why quite a few readers, the ones who are there to honestly guide people, we always state free will. The choices that you take from the reading is ultimately up to you. You can take nothing from the reading, from the interpretation. You could take all of it. It's all how you want to perceive what's being expressed in the interpretation. If I give you something, if I state something for guidance and you don't do it, that's fine. You can't come back to me and say, hey, this didn't happen. You made that choice. So when, I mean, I've I've been watching all the metaphysical changes that have taken place, at least for about 40 years, seeing how we have the psychics, we have the tarot readers and whatnot. And I remember seeing this as I was younger and growing up. And back in the days, like in the 70s and 80s, after 12 midnight, you would get these psychics for, $2.50 a minute. They will tell you what you need to hear, more or less. And I'm not saying this is for everyone, but there are some people that are out there that do this then and also now. But it's now more at a larger spectrum of people through social media. Everything is access. It is easy to get hustled. It's also more difficult to get past those that are doing the hustling for the ones who really want to get out there and honestly share a message and help people. And for those who have good judgment and really know and understand how humans behave, that happens in experience. You can almost tell that, when someone's trying to pull your leg. But granted, there are some people who are very slick. They understand the psychology of someone who is desperate, someone who is weak, and they know when speaking to someone when to hit at their weakest point. And each and every one of us are vulnerable to that, and we've probably been taken in by that as well, from car salesmen to friends. We have something that we want to say, and we have to try and work it in such a way that we can bring those people in. And the core of it is hitting their vulnerable space. So it is unfortunate that, especially in the last year, with the pandemic and at least 100, I don't know how many percent of a explosion of tarot readers and psychic readers and people who are selling their craft for profit and not for goodwill has happened. So people, and also too, there's a turning point that's going on in spirituality. People are looking for their own direction, looking for their own spiritual practice. They're moving away from the conventional religions, moving away from Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism. They're exploring other things. Individuals now, and I almost want to say it is the younger generation the wonderful thing about the young generation, and I'm talking about millennials because I'm not even a millennial, is they want something different. They want something that is of their own. And they're making their mark. So they don't want to follow old school. They don't want to follow tradition. I think that's good and bad, because when you're exploring something new, wanting to create something different, ultimately you are going back. You will have to go back to those roots and modify what has already been written through books, what has been created through scripture, through tarot cards, through crystals, the meanings that people have already stated. Okay. What's happening is they're looking for something different, the new generation. Okay. And that's fine, but I think what ends up happening is they're forgetting their roots. Okay. So for anyone who is young and watching this, please remember where your sources are coming from. If you're finding information, anything metaphysical, or anything in a spiritual practice, look at the bibliography, look at the sources that the author is pulling information from, because this isn't anything new. The only thing that's new is a new vision, a new perspective of where to take witchcraft, of where to put the meanings of crystals, a new perspective of how to heal. Okay. And I'm open for it. What's just disheartening is that you're not paying attention to again where those sources came from, and I feel quite a few of the new generations are just claiming it as their own, and it really isn't. Okay, so that's the one thing I will be direct about. There could be a renaissance of things, which is already happening right now. Trends, things are repeating themselves, but they're repeating themselves and they're being redefined in a new way. But it's being claimed as something as their own, something new, and it's not new. So in regards for ethics, for that, I think that's really important. And to really do your research, don't get stuck into what's going on now. Because what I've been seeing too is with some of the older tarot decks, books that are coming out, a lot of the new generation, they don't like it because they're like, oh, that's old. That's, and granted, books that I was reading when I was starting my practice, was more on the masculine side. And then we had we had a little separate faction of people, of women that were standing up and, showing the power of feminine energy. So there's a masculine, feminine, patriarch, and a matriarch. Those challenges going back and forth, and that basically started happening in the 70s with Gloria Steiner and the uprising of feminism and stuff, and everything, including spiritual practice. So, those were books I was reading, and I was saying the same thing. I was saying, wow, this is kind of backwards thinking. That makes no sense. But the way I took my practice, I didn't claim it as my own, because those influences of books and different ways of reading and practicing came from tradition. Okay. So anyhow, this is going to end up being long, and I really didn't want it to be long. So anyhow, when it goes to ethics and the tarot community, we are going to see things differently, but don't shut it out entirely. Okay. Anna, and some of the comments that I saw on her discussion, some of the common comments that I saw is that even though we are all different, we don't have to agree with one perspective that someone has versus another. We all share one commonality. The reason why we are in a community, in a tribe, whatever, is that you share one thing in common. The thing that makes it different and the thing that makes it challenging is a different perspective. And at some point, when you're trying to get your message across, or you're trying to grow a group of people together, you'll find yourself reshaping what you're saying so that you can come across your message could come across to a larger audience. So you start with one idea, okay? You're expressing your idea. I'm talking now about the community. Expressing your idea, and you're seeing that it's not getting across as the way you want. So you modify it, and you modify it in a way, in a sense, just to start bringing people in. Okay, and then you start getting other people's perspective, and the next thing you see is that one idea that you had modified just to please others, I guess, starts moving in a completely different direction. And so I wrote in Astral Lady's comment on her video, I'm a nonconformist. Okay, and nonconformist is someone who stands by their beliefs, their thoughts, their actions, and takes responsibility for anything that may come towards it in a negative or positive way. Okay. And I don't feel I'm part of a community. I'm in it, but I feel like I'm more of a visitor, because what's so important for me, the reason why I have my channel here, is I just want to share my experience from my readings, what I'm learning from different practices that I'm exploring. I'm not a deck collector, so I subscribe to a few channels where they are deck collectors, but what I like about some of these channels is that they also have something to say about their practice. It's very hard for me to invest in channels where they're just talking about decks all the time. And that's wonderful if you're a collector. But for those who constantly talk about their deck collections, that's not for me. It has nothing to do with that individual. That individual, I am certain, has a beautiful soul and spirit, but my direction is different. So that's an example of being in a community that has one common interest, but it doesn't work for me because I'm not a collector. So for the community and things that I've come across on people's discussions about what it's like to what it's like to interact within a community, especially online community here on YouTube. And then there's a riff or there's some sort of issue that's going on. I have nothing to say about it because I have no idea what's going on. And I think a lot of these communities, the issues come from other social media sources like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, tickety talk, and then it gets, exploded here on YouTube. It gets exposed, I guess. I don't know. So I'm grateful I don't have a big social media presence. I've stopped Facebook, though I do have Instagram and YouTube and my website. There's nothing out there, unfortunately, that I feel is valuable for me and ethically good in regards for social media. And I don't know if there ever will be. I don't know if there'll be a social media platform that will come up to challenge Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of these, where there is some moral ethics involved. There's always going to be a twist when you're going to be creating a big company like those social media sites. There's going to be, some issues along the way. So it's unfortunate. And I was saying about 15 years ago, I'm just waiting for something good to come on social media wise, where, we can be secure with our privacy. We can have a little bit more control of our profiles and whatnot. And I feel it'd be great if there was something like that. And I'm certain a majority of people would love to see that and would pay for that service, concerning all the issues that have been happening with these other social media sites. But I don't see it happening because of politics and now the way social media is starting to get connected with the government. It's just like, oh my God, so, and I'm not saying YouTube isn't any better. It has its faults as well, but I feel it's simple enough for me that I can control as much as I can and move on with it. So, um, that's how I feel about social media in general. And working as a tarot reader, and I'm seeing where this is gonna take me, because I'm starting to get more work from it. I have to see where it's going to take me and where I'm gonna end up working in this realm. If it's gonna end up being something full-time, something where I'm gonna have to change um, my whole direction. But, with the community, like I said in the beginning, there's a lot to take into consideration. For those who are looking for tarot readers, you will find the tarot reader that resonates with you, okay? And we have to also be careful, and I say we, which includes myself and those who are looking for a tarot reader, how we interact with each other, okay? I'm a very direct person. I'm not gonna sugarcoat a reading, and I'm just gonna tell it like it is. And sometimes when I get a question, there are times where I feel like maybe the tarot isn't needed because I don't like to get a lot of information from the person who's asking the question. But sometimes when they're in the seat or if I'm talking with someone, they just tell me everything. And I almost, I have to be careful with that because I feel already with what's going on. It's like, well, I think this is what you need. It's like almost the tarot cards aren't needed. It's like I'm giving my advice over to you. But the tarot does come in as a good guide because it can give me insight to something that I personally may be feeling that the tarot or whatever divinatory tools you work with may be saying something different or can add an additional to what's going on. So as a reader, we have to watch how we feel, have no bias towards the person at all. Set that aside. When you turn on your camera, when you walk into your office or you walk into that shop to start your time of reading, you leave any bias, anything emotional, anything mental outside. When you're in that room, when you're in that space in front of the camera, you are there solely for that person. No color, no age, or anything like that. And this is the beauty of doing online readings, because we don't know the person. We don't see the person or anything like that. So I feel when it comes to doing readings online, it works equally as well, as opposed to when you're in person doing a reading. You see the person, and I'm empathic, so I could generally sense. I put like there's almost like a screen when someone comes in, not a physical screen, but I put up like a screen of sorts. So when the person comes in, I don't see, and I know some people will not even believe this, I won't see color, I won't see age, I won't see sex of the person, the way they dress, smell, anything like that. I'm focused all on their energy. And that's how I do my tarot decks, the decks that I work with, the ones that I choose. Sometimes the art will be influential, and that's a given, because as a tarot reader, you want to work with tools that radiate to you, whether it's the artwork or the size of the cards or whatnot. So sometimes that's a tool, that's a measure for tarot readers. I know there are people in the community, because of uh, physical issues, like with their hands, they need to use smaller decks instead of large decks. You know, there are all these little specifics. But anyhow, um, when it comes for me reading for a person, I just feel off the energy. And I'm happy that they're there. And I try my best to put something very neutral between the individual and myself um, when it comes to doing a reading. And that applies also when I go online. But yeah, you know, there, as a reader, and for those who are looking for readers, you will know which reader works for you. And the beauty of online is that, because some of these readers consistently are doing readings day after day, week after week, so on and so forth, for however amount of time, you can watch how they read. You could see their patterns and their personalities, and see how, you know, how they read, how they are as an individual. And I think that's very important. There is one reader who has a very unique style in the way that she reads. She's empathic. She's a very strong person. Has come from some challenged times, but she is so present, and she is just so grateful for being where she is. And her reading, she's all tattooed and stuff, but she has some humor that can be on the darker side, but it's expressed in such a way that you feel comfortable with it. There's nothing negative. And so, you know, I look at her channel, I look at others, that I'm looking for that energy, someone that feels real, someone that is connected, grounded. The speed readers, I don't, you know, they flash a card so quick you can't even see the card. They could say, yeah, 5 of Wands, down the card goes. And it could have been like a 2 of Cups. So they can be flashing cards so quick, talk about sleight of hand, and place the cards down. You know, they're doing all these readings. And some people do that. But for the most part, at least show the card, so that the person who's watching can connect with the cards. And that's what I do. But for ones that are the speed readers, they show the cards really quick and stuff. It's just like, wow. I hope the person who's asking the question is able to make sense of that. But for the most part, those individuals are doing those readings. You know, let them do whatever they do. As a tarot reader, they have no right telling me how to read, and I have no right telling someone else how they read. It just puts an interesting twist, like I was saying earlier, on those like myself who want to communicate and share a message from the heart and soul. I think a lot of people don't want to hear these kinds of readings. They just want something quick. Love readings work. You know, predictive readings are popular. So those are the readers that more than likely will have the tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And also they do them by signs, so they can, the reader can hit a larger group of people. So people who are moving to Leo, so people who are Leo can do readings for Leo, and so on and so forth, based on love work, so on and so forth. But yeah, you know, you can't stop someone from doing something like that, whether it's illegal or not, unless there becomes issues, and it becomes, you know, something. If there are some channels there that are fraudulent, then they get caught, so on and so forth. And that's that's too bad. But again, the reputation of anything divinatory and is being sold like a service, especially in the metaphysical realm, psychics, candle work, voodoo, hoodoo, channelers and stuff. It's unfortunate, but there are people there that will do that for money. And I remember going to a metaphysical conference a few years ago, and we were talking about ethics in the tarot. And this one person who was residing in New York as a tarot reader, and also I think as a psychic, she was sharing the story how this one particular reader that she knew about, I don't know if she knew the person directly, but knew about, scammed I think a family tens of thousands of dollars to remove a curse. And I don't know what the amount was. I think it was something like $50,000 to remove a curse and to do all these things. And the problem is if you keep coming back to that individual, that's your sign. You're going back. You're being enabled to come back and put another 1,000 into that, 500, so on and so forth, until it's completely removed. And the only thing that gets completely removed is when you go back to that reader, and that reader has skipped town, has closed the shop, has changed their name, and you are out tens of thousands of dollars. Okay. So for those who are looking for a reader, please be aware. Please be aware of who's out there. Do your research. Contact the reader. Email them. They have a phone number and they communicate that way, and talk to them. See how they feel. Tarot readers, I think the best tarot readers are the best way to find a guide of sorts. Look at them face value. What do you think we have YouTube for? Now, there are some readers there, you don't see their face. You just see their hands and so on and so forth, and that's it. And that could be for various reasons. But for the most part, look at the person. I prefer doing readings in person. It's kind of hard online because in the chats, I don't see everyone. But I have to trust my instinct and kind of move with the questions. And after a while, you start seeing patterns. If someone's just playing a game with you or whatnot, then you just remove it and just move on. But my guide for those who are looking for a tarot reader is just look at them, do research. If you're going to be making a investment for your own well-being, look. And if you want the quick questions, go for it. Yeah, or the quick answers, go for it. Go to the speed readers. That's what I call them. And they're doing the speed reading too, is because they're, it's going for numbers and they need to get a certain amount of volume coming into their channel and likes and so on and so forth. And you could see that, and that's, that's them. They're hustling. They're trying to get, those numbers up and trying to get paid advertisements through YouTube. They're doing that. So there's a pattern. If you start looking at all this, start doing your research, you start seeing a pattern as to how things are being done. And so I don't want to name names of any of the tarot readers that I've been speaking about. Do your research. You will find a tarot reader that resonates with you. Ask those questions. And look for ethics. Okay? And when you're young, it's hard because, especially if you're in a state where you're just feeling, I need answers. I need something quick. There's that desperate, that buildup, that anxiety just moves, and you find someone who has that almost that equal amount of tension, because there are tarot readers that hold a certain kind of tension when you look at them, and a certain kind of attitude. You like that. You go to that. Like attracts like. Okay. So just be aware of that. And find a channel that works with you, the tools that truly resonate with you, and be honest with yourself. And for those who are like myself, who are here just to earn a living, but to also do it honestly and to be very direct and forthright, that is going to be a long challenge. There are some channels, like I mentioned, that are like that, but it may take longer to get there. You have to show your authenticity. You have to show your honest intent when it comes to communicating with people. And that takes time. That's very slow. As opposed to someone who started a channel 2 years ago and they have over 500,000 followers. It's like, wow. The one thing I will give kudos to people who are like that, to get those quick followers, they hustle. Okay, they're working it. And that's the thing that I do like. But when it comes to getting their message across, if it's done in such a way that is just not being sensitive to the individual, that hands down, I don't appreciate. So that's it. I don't want to go any further. I just want to give my own feedback as a tarot reader and my experience when it comes to being on YouTube, and some of the channels that I've experienced from other tarot readers that I've seen, and how they work, and so on and so forth. So I can't really say this isn't a judgment against people and the way that they read, but I just want to say, just do your research. If you're really serious about making this kind of investment, what I've been saying so far in the last few minutes, do your research and feel what truly resonates with you. If you want those quick readings, like you're going to a job interview in 10 minutes, you need to find someone online, you'll find those people. But you're not getting the full reading, you're not getting the full spectrum of what could be going on. So just keep that in mind. Okay, that's it. I'm signing off. Any questions, comments? I'm curious what's going to happen with this video. But I'm speaking from the heart. Again, no name dropping, because I don't feel that's necessary. If you want to watch the video that Astral Lady Tarot, I keep almost wanting to say Anna Astral Lady, that Anna had discussed regarding tarot ethics in the community. I have the link there so you can see the source from where I got the information, and take a look at that, and give feedback here as well and over there if you feel needed. Have a wonderful day, evening, everyone. I will see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching.